What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. We have the Fusion live in-game, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we have a Fusion calendar. We're going to go over it and we're going to see how hard it is to get this Fusion. Or at least kind of like trying to anticipate because, hey, we don't have all the events in-game at the moment. So it's going to be a bit harder to kind of like understand how many points they are requesting from all these events. The Dungeon Divers event, starting right here, 3,700 points for the 5 fragments. Unfortunately, it seems like in between 3,500 to 4,000 is the new standard for a Dungeon Divers event, you know, and these are very costly. I feel like this is something that is a bit more out of hand recently compared to the other events. We have a Dragon tournament that just started as well. Of course, we're going to have different tournaments that will start as well, including a champion training tournament. So make sure you guys are waiting a little bit longer to have the champion training tournament on. And when you are doing your bidding, basically you're gonna shoot 2 birds with 1 stone. This is again very standard for a fusion, 2,250 points for the tournament. So I would expect it to be pretty much the same for everything. Now I know a lot of you guys don't seem to be fans of this fusion at all for whatever reason. You don't like her, so that's fine. If you don't like a champion, you're not forced to do the fusion, you know, so you can just chillax, use your resources to do something else. Maybe Bastards for other champions, work towards something else. Personally, I will do the fusion because this champion will be important for me for the series of Synthranos, right? So I'm valuing that the most from everything that we have in the game at the moment, together with the Hydra class. So those are my main priorities. But putting that on the side, guys, here we go. We have a total of 135 fragments, okay? Which overall is decent because that allows us to skip 1 event. So we have 55 coming from tournaments. We have 60 coming from events. We have 20 coming from leaderboards. Now, we do have 1 summon rush, which will start tomorrow. That will reward us with 15 fragments. And next weekend, Friday the 19th, we have a champion chase tournament, which will reward us with 15 fragments again. So that means that you can skip 1 summoning event, and that's thumbs up for this fusion, guys, because it's not made impossible. We've seen the requirements for the Dungeon Diver event. Now, the problem is we will have 3 Dungeon Divers events, okay? So we will need quite a bit of energy to get all that done. For some people, honestly, if you have the shard saved up, it's easier to get the summoning done and skip a Dungeon Divers and other stuff that will probably be a hassle, you know? Overall, if you don't have the shards, you gotta make sure you do have the energy or the gems saved up to be able to get this fusion organized, you know? So starting with the very top, guys, we have the champion training tournament, which will start roughly in around 20 to 30 minutes. We have the Dragon tournament, so we can get 15 fragments from there. And we have the very first Dungeon Divers that will give us 5 fragments. So it's good to kind of like try and shoot 2 birds with 1 stone, do some campaign once the champion training tournament started, level up some champions to get the fragments from there. And at the same time, you're going to be able to get points for the Dungeon Divers, then move over to the Dragon tournament, get some points from that. And you do have the Ice Golem tournament starting on the 14th. And the next Dungeon Divers, the second Dungeon Divers, starting on the 15th. So overall, you can wait and don't engage with the Ice Golem tournament only once the second Dungeon Diver starts, unless you still need more points for the first Dungeon Divers. And honestly, you will need approximately, let's put it right here, for the Dragon tournament, around 3k energy, guys. Okay, so this will barely give you any points in the Dungeon Divers, you know, like for the Dungeon Divers to kind of like get to that amount of points, I feel like you kind of need around 6k energy, more or less. Now, I've never really done the math for it, honestly, so I'm kind of like approximating just from what I'm seeing when I'm doing my Dungeon Divers events. So a champion training tournament, it will definitely not take you 3k energy unless you're doing 1-star chickens, 2-star chickens, 3-star chickens, etc. And you're not really doing the bigger chickens, you know. But the champion training tournament usually is done with like 2k energy. Now, when you are doing campaign, With this, of course, you're not really getting as many points for the dungeon divers as farming an actual dungeon. So that's why the return for the 2k energy is actually pretty minimal, you know. For the classic arena takedown 1, it's pretty straightforward. You might have to purchase a refill depending on where you are in the tiers, you know, for arena. But honestly, it's not the biggest issue. Same with the second one right here, which starts on Saturday, 20th of January. Then we have the Summon Rush that's starting tomorrow, guys. I'm expecting to see a requirement of approximately 4k points to 5k points. Now, I do think it will be at around 4k, so I would say have a minimum of 8 sacreds in terms of points. You don't need exactly 8 sacreds. They can be voids, they can be primals. Don't really bother to open ancients on the Summon Rush unless you're planning to skip the Champion Chase tournament, which, by the way, I would strongly suggest you to skip the Summon Rush over the Champion Chase tournament. In my opinion, it's easier to do a Champion Chase tournament because you might have a fragment event waiting, a summon, you know. You might have a fusion that you can do. You might have something that will give you points. Plus, during the Champion Chase tournament, usually we have a 2x on a shard, right? I'm not sure exactly what they have because they messed up the system so much, guys. We have literally no idea what to expect in terms of 2x events now because they really confuse the masses, you know. So I would probably try to get that done, but personally, I will try to get both of the summoning events done and potentially skip an artifact enhancement, a dungeon diver event. The reason why I'm doing it is because I don't have that much energy saved up, so I'm not as well prepared for it. And I feel like I have some sacred saved up. Based on how many points I require for the Summon Rush, I will decide what I'm going to do. I do think we're going to get 5 fragments plus 10 in here. So basically, you could pick 5 and skip 1 dungeon diver. You know, you don't need to pick all 15, and it's still going to be more beneficial to do that if you have a couple of sacreds on the side that you can spare for it. You know, maybe it will be at around 1,000, 1,500 points to get the first 5 fragments. Now, I've seen them when they've done it to 2,000 points and crazy things like that, so hopefully it's not going to be the case. Ice Golem Tournament, approximately 3k energy again, guys. Fire Knight Tournament, approximately 3k energy again, based on what stage you're farming. Spider Tournament, 3k energy again. So that's kind of like what you should expect. I feel like for the Champion Chase tournament, again, in between 2k, my god, I have such a beautiful handwriting, and 3k points to get the 15 fragments, you know. Usually here, they're not splitting a couple of batches. It's just one batch of 15. So I'm expecting it to be around there. And this is really an RNG fest. The more epics you summon, the better. So I'm definitely going to try to finish that completely, and I'll see what I'm going to do with the Summon Rush. We have another Dungeon Diver event, which, again, I would approximate a minimum of 6k energy. So this is not a maximum. This is the minimum. Most probably you will need more. And how I mentioned, up to you if you're going to try to get the 5 fragments from here and skip one of the Dungeon Divers event. The thing is, you do have the Spider Tournament right here together with a Champion Chase. The Champion Chase and the Fire Knight Tournament and the Ice Golem will kind of like go hand in hand with the second Dungeon Divers event right here. So it will be easier to get that done rather than do this one right here only with the Champion Training Tournament and with the Spider Tournament, you know, because they're kind of like connecting here. The Bermuda Triangle right there, guys, for you. So I do think I'm personally going to skip a Dungeon Divers event, you know. Then we have 3 artifact enhancement events. 15 million silver approximately per event based on the RNG. If you're super lucky, you might get it with 10. But I feel like 15 million is kind of like the average for people. And you have 3 of these as well. The Cursed City literally ate me over 200 million silver, guys. And if I'm doing the Summon Rush, I'm definitely skipping some artifact enhancement events because my god, it's just like eating silver for breakfast. That's what's happening with these events. But guys, that's pretty much what we have in terms of the fragment event calendar. Let me know in the comments down below if you are tempted by the fusion. Are you planning to do it, considering that we can actually skip a summoning event? Usually they're kind of like making them in such a way where we cannot skip a summoning event, or we don't have enough extra fragments, etc. You know, so I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. You will need to have quite a bit of energy saved up, quite a few gems, you know, and you are roughly getting in between 800 to 1k energy every single day just by playing, guys. So keep in mind, you don't need to have 20k energy saved up in your vault either, you know. That was all for the video. Much love. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.